this one, what is the main thing that you have? Yeah, thank you so much for recording. Okay, so what is the main thing that you've realized here? What is the main purpose? What are the keywords that you could figure out in the third one? This is a little bit confusing, not like really bad, but I have had experience with people that, when people have struggled to do this one.
Ma'am, mine was like this, goes like this,
Ah,
regarding collation of resumes by placement cell.
yeah. So the mail is written by the placement coordinator, but who is this written to?
To the graduating,
Who is the
no,
recipient? Question is, who is the recipient?
Graduating batch.
Is the graduating batch the recipient? Read the email. To ease the placement process of the current graduating batch of C17, the placement team is collating resumes for Resume Bank with access to final years alone. We would be grateful if you could share the details of the students from the previous batch who are employed with reputed firms in India. You may send the following Google form to obtain their consent and their resume before you can share the details with us. Thanks a lot in advance for helping us with this. Who is the person this is being addressed to?
ma'am, the students of
Placement.
previous batch.
But
Maybe
you think people who were
accounting.
from the previous batch can collect other people's resume? Whose task is it to collect it? Who will have it?
The
Company.
The
placement cell
placement team.
and only
Placement cell,
the
yeah.
final years one. Yeah.
Yes, no, not the final years. They definitely will have it, but then the placement coordinator cannot write an email to the students to collate. If it is to collate, then it has to be for the team, right? So this is an email that is sent to the placement team by the coordinator of placement for placement. Okay. So the task given is to the placement team to collate the resumes for the resume bank creation, and they are asked to circulate a form to this graduating batch of CE17 to obtain their consent, right? So that this can be shared with the coordinator. Okay, that is the idea. So main part here is, what is the main part? So two things are asked. One is the resume bank creation, right? And for the resume bank creation, first, the consent has to be taken from this batch, and then their resume has to be collated. These are the three tasks. But out of the three tasks, what is the major task?
Getting details of
Getting details, which is basically creation, no, not getting details, but creation of the resume bank, right?
Resume
Student
bank.
details. Accessing student details for the creation of resume bank. That is the main task. Rest of the things are the details of how to go about with it, right? So then the subject line will read something along these lines, right? So it can say student details for resume bank creation regarding. Okay. So, or
Ma'am,
either you
can
say
it be like
regarding at
this?
the end. Sorry.
Can it be like this, regarding collation of resumes by placement cell for final years students?
Oh, that is very long, and it also doesn't exactly communicate why this mail was sent.
Ma'am,
The major
can we write
purpose
it?
is,
Ma'am, can we write it like request for details of CE17 batch
no,
alumni
it's not
for
request.
resume bank?
The request is not for that. You can simply, you have to have the word creation there, because it clearly say ask them to collate, which is creation. They have been asked to create the resume bank. Okay. It's not just getting the details. Getting the details is like secondary. More important is get the details and create this resume bank. Right. That is what the mail is asking. See, this is the placement coordinator. That person is not going to sit and collate it. The coordinator is asking the cell to do that for the coordinator. Okay. So major purpose here is getting the details and creation of the resume bank. So both of that will have to then become a part of your subject line. Okay. So like I thought, this one was a bit confusing for your people also. And I'm glad, because at workplaces, you always get emails like this. Some of these emails are not very well written. Okay. So you can have situations where you'll have to read through and figure out what exactly this person is writing about. Uh, right.
Ma'am, can it go like this? If we remove the word regarding, like this, if we start from collation of resumes by placement
Hmm.
cell for resume bank creation.
Yeah, but it would be nice
Again,
if
it's
you
a
can
bit
include
long.
the word regarding. Yeah, it is long, and regarding will actually be helpful because otherwise it sounds very short and also a tad bit like a command. It's like do this right now, something of that sort. But regarding makes it. There are certain expressions that you use in the email to make it sound a little professional, even though it is like a more or less like a command. So regarding will help in that case. But if you think that is going to make your subject line longer, then omit it. Or the best part is keep it towards the end of the email. So you write student details for resume bank creation regarding. So regarding anyway, it's anyway not important. It will go at the end of the subject line and probably not be visible to the person also. So it's all right. Okay. All right.
Okay,
The
ma'am.
last one is on the audit team has created. Okay, this one should be easier, I guess. I don't know what answers you have written. Has requested to create one folder for each item. Inside, yeah, too many details there. Folder should be named as one, two files can be pasted inside the folder. Audit is scheduled on Monday 20. Yeah, what did you write? It's simple. It's longer, has a lot of things, but this one, very few people have answered, I think. No, now it shows 8. Yeah, what is the important part in this email? What is the major purpose?
Instructions for folder creation.
Instructions for folder creation. Okay, that is fine. Uh, then, but what is this folder for? It's not any random folder creation, right? What is it?
For the audit report,
Creation or instructions for uh, creation of folder or folder creation. Instruction for creation of folder, and then you have to also add why is it for. Audit on Monday 20th September 2019. This part is important. That is the most important part in this, that there is an audit and it is scheduled on Monday 20th September. This is the most important information, one of the important information at least. Okay, and that is why you need to create the folder. Okay, that's the reason, because simply writing folder creation, people be like, okay, I'll create it sometime later. It's okay. They won't understand the urgency of the email, right? So this is for audit. So all those details, including the date and the reason which is the audit, needs to go into your subject line. Okay. So you can simply say instructions for folder creation, audit on 20th September 2019, or instructions for audit folder file creation. This can also be used alternatively. Okay.
ma'am, can
I
we
will
write
not say on.
two phrases along together?
Can you use to free in subject line? You can, because as I
Yeah.
told you, this is not like a sentence, right? So it does not have to follow the structure of a sentence, subject, verb, object, or subject and predicate. Subject line is
So
basically just conveying of
yeah.
information or the purpose. That's all.
Hmm. Yeah. So can it go like this? Instructions for folder creation, audit scheduled on the XYZ date.
Yes, yes. That's right.
Okay.
That can be
Okay,
written
ma'am.
like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So those were the 4 questions. I wish we had time to discuss more, but then I think this will give you some flavor of how this works. Okay. Uh, Good. So we'll continue. We're going to go back to our slides. I will try to discuss a few part regarding the email writing for particularly the content part. Okay. Let's see if I can finish the purpose, details, closing remarks today. Maybe complementary clause we can take up tomorrow along with the proofreading and editing part. But there's half an hour left, so I want to continue talking about this too. Because they are simple, they are not very difficult. We can quickly read through them and be done with. Okay. So next in line for contents of email would be the body of email, right? So you have subject line, salutations, and then comes your body of the email. Now in the body of the email, there are three parts that are of importance as far as professional emails are concerned. The purpose line, the purpose statement, next is the details statement, and the third line in your body of the email would be the closing remarks. Okay, so we are going to look at what do each of them do and how do they make up the body of the email. Purpose statement, this is the next in line after the salutation in the structure of the email or the body of the email. They most often than not coincide with the beginning of the email in a formal mail. Now, what does that mean? Coincides with the beginning of the email in a formal mail, which means this is usually the first sentence that you read in the body of the email after salutation, right? Purpose statement. It's called purpose statement because this line is the first line, and this is the line which is going to communicate the purpose, the actual purpose of the mail being written. Okay. Remember, we are talking about professional email. So there is nothing called an exchange of pleasantries, right? We're not going to say, how are you doing? I hope you are in the pink of your health and so on and so forth, right? This kind of additional exchange of pleasantries are strictly not allowed in your professional emails. You come straight to the point, which is why this line is also known as the purpose statement or the purpose line. And this is the first sentence that anybody would read as they draft or they read the body of the email of a professional email, right? The word choice here has to be carefully selected so as to accurately, adequately, and concisely. Okay, all the three words are important. Accurately, adequately, and concisely convey the intent of the email, right? So how do you write it? It needs to be accurate, right? You cannot have anything upside down there. Everything has to be factually correct, specific. Your purpose has to be adequately. Every aspect of what you want to convey needs to be adequately presented. And it has to also be concise, which means your sentence should not be very long, even if you are including a couple of details. Make sure use the language in such a way that you can convey your purpose clearly, adequately, accurately in a concise way, right? So if you can convey all of what you want in say 5 or 6 words, please go for 5 or 6 words. Do not write a 10-15 word long sentence, okay? Or in short, you can say do not write very long sentences, right? Because that is going to directly impact the length of your email as a whole and also the reading impact of that, right? Too long emails are usually ignored. People will not read every part of it, right? They'll just skim through it. Instead, if you're writing short sentences, then the chances are that every part of it or everything that you want to convey is read by the person. Lengthy sentences, usually people would read through half of it and be like, okay, skip, go to the next part. And they'll basically look through what is important. And when they do that, when they skim, there are chances that, they miss out on the details which you want them to know, which you think is important and has to be conveyed to them. Right? So do not give that space to the reader to choose what they want to read. You choose what they want to read. So write it in such a way that everything that you want them to read are actually read by them. And the method to ensure that is to write concisely, right? So this is applicable at the email at a whole, and it is also applicable at the sentence level too, which is why this sentence, word choice here has to be carefully selected so as to accurately, adequately, and concisely convey the intent of the email. Okay. Then sometimes in an email, sometimes in professional emails, this line is the only line that is present in the body of the email, right? So for semi-formal and informal emails, for example, remember that example of writing an email to your colleague for conveying, to seek their confirmation on an internal meeting, right? Or maybe you simply want to inform your colleagues that there is going to be a meeting which they're required to attend. In that kind of emails, which are basically semi-formal or informal emails, like you inviting your colleagues for lunch or dinner or something, these kind of emails, sometimes this line, this purpose line is the only sentence that you'll find in that email. There'll be nothing else. Only this single line would be present. But this is in the case of semi-formal and informal emails. For formal emails, still, the purpose statement will have to be followed up with a detailed statement and then a closing remark, which we'll see in a short while. Okay, so that's how important purpose statement is, whether for semi-formal or informal or formal. Purpose statement is then the most important statement in the body of the email. Okay.
Can
What
you
is the-
explain the second point again, please? I didn't
what is
understand
the second part?
the beginning of the mail one.
Beginning of the email basically means this is the first line that you will read in the body of the email. This is the first sentence you're going to encounter as a reader. The first and foremost sentence would be the purpose line. That is coincides with the beginning of the email. So the email begins with the statement. That is what it means. Okay.
Well, all right.
Okay. Now, purpose statement. What is it expected to do? It is expected to. This is about what purpose does the purpose statement serve? Okay. So it defines the level of formality. So this sentence will encode words in such a way that the senders and the recipients hierarchy levels would be established, right? So the level of formality, the intended audience, and its outcomes, all of this can be determined just by looking at the purpose statement, right? So if I have a sentence, you have read 4 emails now. So those emails, particularly if you look at the one which was on placement cell, right? If you look at the language of that email, you look at the first sentence of that email, that sounds more, it's not as formal as it should sound, but it is semi-formal. That's because you are writing to subordinates in your own space, right? So the sentence in the beginning conveys very well that you're writing to somebody who's known to you and you want to get some work done by them, right? So the level of formality, intended audience, and outcome is then communicated through that line. But if you look at the email before that, right, not this one, which was that one. This is an invitation to our next training cell speaker series, dear colleagues, right? This one is a little more formal than the one that was on placement cell, because the placement cell one directly starts with telling the reader what they should do. The other one still builds up a little bit, tells you that, okay, this is an invitation for the speaker cell series and this is what is happening, register. So it's more formal when considered, when compared to the placement cell one. Okay. So the way you use the language, right, you can consider using your language in such a way to then encode this formality levels, right? And where do you do all these things? In the purpose statement. So then it directly affects the level of formality, or it tells you about the level of formality, the audience intended for the email, and its outcomes by itself, right? This way, purpose statement is able to do all this for you as a reader. It sets the communication goal. Yes, that's exactly what we were talking about. It can, in addition to the 3 factors of communicating levels of formality, intended audience, and outcomes, what can it do? Additionally, it can also give a glimpse of the tone and attitude of the message. Now, what is the tone and attitude of the message? Is this an email that is written to talk about some urgent event? Is it a request? Is it a gratitude email? Is this a grievance or a complaint email, right? All of this would be declared in the purpose statement. So I read the purpose statement and I know whether this is an invitation, whether this is a request, whether this is something that is to, get something done urgently, whether this is written to raise a complaint, whether this is a gratitude email. Gratitude email is basically thank you email, right? Or grievance email, someone has raised some kind of grievance. All of these will have to be communicated in the, or is basically communicated in the purpose statement. Okay. Now, just read through this. These are a few expressions that can help you start your email, right? So all of the purposes are not listed here. The purposes that are more commonly used are the ones which are listed in the left-hand side, right? So, of course, this, what you write as a phrase for the purpose statement will change according to your purpose. but the ones that you see on the screen are the more commonly used purposes, right? But the more commonly written emails are about this usually, right? So like the first one, making reference, right? When you have to write, when you're replying to some email, which has had an email thread already running, your purpose is to begin with giving a reference. So for that, you can use the phrase with reference to it says letter. Letter can be replaced with mail. Okay, not email, mail. You simply say mail with reference to your mail dated or mail in the thread on so and so, and then the rest of your content, right? So this is reference email when you have to make a reference to a previous email or a previous conversation that you've had through the email, right? Second, giving the reason for writing. I am writing to so and so, right? Third one, giving good news. So I or we am or are pleased to. Okay. Do not use words like, I see that in our announcements also. I see things like, we are excited to announce. Nobody is excited to announce anything. A better word or a more professional way of presenting that would be to say we are pleased to inform, okay, or we are pleased to bring it to your attention that so and so is happening, or there's an event happening, we would like your participation, so on and so forth. So use words that are more neutral and more professional, right? So like, for example, change excited to pleased, okay? Or even writing we are happy is also fine, that is still neutral, but not words like excited or we are thrilled to let you know, no. Okay. Giving bad news, again, you can either say I regret, we regret, or we not apologize. Okay, don't use the word apologize here, because bad news would account to anything, right? Sometimes it could be a rejection email. Say you applied for an internship somewhere or a job somewhere and they have not selected you. So they won't apologize to you for that. Okay, so that is bad news, but no apologies. Apologies is usually when there is an error on the other person's end. So don't replace regret here with apology or apologize. It has to remain regret here. Okay. Then making a request, we or I would be grateful if you could. Okay. This is the best way to start. So these are all common expressions that people use in professional domains. If you are, of course, good with your language and you can come about with a new way of writing it, if you're welcome to do that. But for beginners, people who really do not know how to have a way with this, these expressions would be a little useful for you to start with. Okay. Offering assistance, if you require any further information, please do not hesitate. This is a different section, closing remarks. We will look at it as a different section altogether. But from 1 to 5 are the most common or the popularly used expressions in order to begin an email, right? To start writing your purpose statement, any of these phrases can be used based on the situation or the purpose that you're writing the email for. Okay. Body of the email. So after the purpose statement comes the detailed statement or statements. Okay. You are allowed to write somewhere between 1 to 2 detailed statements, but do not go more than 3. Okay. Maximum would be, it's better if you can write it in 1 line. But if you think there are more things to be fit, and if you're going to go on writing, you'll end up getting a long sentence. Then you can go up to 2 or 3 detailed sentences. So purpose statement, then the detailed statements, 2 or 3 of them. Keep it 1 if possible, if not maximum 3, not more than that. And then the final closing remarks. Okay. So detailed statement is what we are going to discuss now. So as the name suggests, the detailed statement will have the necessary details that is required for you to communicate your purpose properly, right? So it will give you the context or premise. The reader gets a context or premise for the purpose statement that you have written through the detailed statement, right? Now, in semi-formal, informal emails, this is optional, okay? Remember, we discussed this in purpose statement, no? Look at the last sentence. A purpose statement could be the only statement in the email in semi-formal and informal emails. So the same statement is written in a different way under this, right? That details and other kind of statements are usually omitted. They are optional in semi-formal, informal emails. But for formal emails, at least one line of detailed statement has to be necessarily given, right? You don't opt out of that in formal professional emails. At least one line of the of the detailed statement has to be written after the purpose statement. Okay. Um, yeah. So the last one, they may include names of the guests, speakers, dignitaries, designations, date, time, name of the venue, organization, organizing committee, details of the organizing committee, name of the projects or the details of the conference, or any other details as considered necessary, right? So of course, I cannot have an exhaustive list of what will be considered as details for an email. Depending on what your email is about, the details will definitely be different. But some of the more commonly used detail statements will have details regarding the things that you see on screen, like the details about guests, about speakers or dignitaries, about their designations, date and time and venue, right? Specifics of the conference or the events. These are more commonly seen details. But of course, they will change depending on what your purpose of the actual email is, right? So this is the details statement. And the last part in the body of the email, the closing remarks. Now, closing remarks for professional emails, they are very much a significant and integral part of the email. You cannot have a professional email end without the closing remarks, right? It's considered extremely unprofessional if you're going to finish off your professional email with the purpose and detail statement and done. All the professional emails have to be closed or ended necessarily with a closing remark. Okay. Now, what does this closing remark do? Why do we do that? Why do they say it is important? First reason that the closing remark needs to be included is that it saves your emails from abrupt endings. You know, it is very similar to, say, you went to attend a function, family function or a friend's event somewhere. You went in there and you had your food, you enjoyed the event, and you just came back just like that, right? You did not tell anybody hi, you did not tell anyone bye, just came off, just went to the function without being noticed and got back. Now, when people come to know about it, will they be happy about it? No, right? At least you need to inform people that you have attended, you have participated. And as a mark of pleasantry, you tell them that, okay, now you're leaving, right? So ending your email without a closing remarks is as problematic as leaving a space without informing people, right? In real life situation, this is what you can compare it to. Abrupt endings, it's like, okay, purpose, detail, and then done. Okay. Just like that, you've ended the email. You have not given the actual proper closure that the email had required. So closing remarks then helps you to save your email from that kind of abrupt endings. And like it is courtesy to tell people that, let people know when you reach and when you leave. Closing remarks, again, is a courtesy element in your email, right? It adds a politeness factor to your email, right? It can leave the reader with a good impression. Now, of course, if it's a courtesy element and if it's a politeness factor, obviously it's going to help you leave the reader with a good impression. Okay. It also keeps the receiver or the recipient of the email in loop and motivates them to take action, right? These are all like more, it's not linguistic or it's not about the email or emails format. It's more about how communication is facilitated among people, right? You can ensure good communication. You can ensure people to respond well to you when you behave well. So, when you're in person, you of course can use various gestures and other methods of communication to ensure that. But in writing, since you're not there in person, you will have to use similar linguistic methods in order to convey the same kind of emotions and expressions. And closing remarks is one such method that people use to facilitate all that we discussed, right? To save from abrupt endings, use courtesy and politeness, leave a good impression on the reader, and also to keep the recipient in loop and motivate them to take action. Okay, so this is the purpose of the closing remarks, and this is absolutely important in all professional emails. Now, there are few useful phrases for closing remarks that is very commonly used among people. Just read through the slides. I think there is like some 3 slides on this. That's all. Please read through them. I'm sure you have seen or you probably have also written all of these. Just read through them. If you have any confusions, please ask me, okay? This first expressions for closing remarks is basically to point towards a future time, okay? Like you usually when you close your email by saying that, you will get back in touch with them at a future time. So these expressions are basically for a future time focus. Okay, just read through them. And please be careful about how this is constructed. A lot of people write, I look forward to hear from you. That's wrong. You always have to write, I look forward to, that's a set expression, right? That's grammatically incorrect if you write, I look forward to hear from you. It has to be, I look forward to hearing from you, look forward to meeting with you, look forward to seeing you, right? Not hear from you, meet with you, or see you. All needs to carry the ing mark. So the first one can be read as, I look forward to hearing from you soon, in case you do not know when exactly you're meeting. If you know, then you can mention the time, date, or anything. Like, I look forward to hearing from you by next Tuesday. I look forward to hearing from you on Monday. Or I look forward to hearing from you in the afternoon. Okay. So you change it according to the definiteness of the time that you have at your disposal. I look forward to your reply, the fourth one. We look forward to a successful working relationship in the future, right? Again, very courtesy level statement. Please advise as necessary, another closing remark. So you're expecting the communication to go on when you say please advise is necessary. All of these expressions are basically hinting towards a future time communication with the party involved. You expect them to write back to you about things, which is why you're using these expressions. I would appreciate your immediate attention to this matter. Again, which means there's going to be a follow-up. That means, right? Okay. Second one, expressions of gratitude. Okay. Sometimes the closing remark is also to express your gratitude. Say you have got some work done from someone. So in the overall email, which is a thank you email, you include an additional courtesy statement or a closing remark to let the person know that you are actually really thankful for what they have done for you. So I thank you for your help, time, or assistance or support. So all the details of it would be already written, okay, like on what they have helped and how it has helped you and all that. This one would be the last sentence to close off your email. So I really appreciate the help, the time, the assistance, or the support you have provided me. I thank you once again for your help in this matter, right? So look at the last line is what, conveys the meaning of the other two also. It's basically you thanking somebody again about how they have been of help to you. Then the third expression is call for action. When you want people to take some action or when you want to direct them to take an action, you can use that also as a part of your closing remarks. Please call me to set a time for the meeting, right? So details and purpose, everything is already mentioned. Now the closing remark is basically you asking them to take some action, calling for action. Would you make an appointment with the manager for tomorrow? Please find the code number for the file at the earliest. I hope you would take an action as early as possible, right? So remember, this is not the only sentence. This is only the closing remark. The details of the action is already mentioned in the purpose and the detail statement, okay? So this is just the last closing remark for the person to reiterate, to, emphasis again that, you see, this is what I have written the email for, okay? Then the last one here, offering assistance. This is also a very common method of closing your email, courtesy lines. If I can be of assistance, please do not hesitate to contact me. If you require any further information, feel free to contact me. Okay, so on and so forth. Many of such sentences. Please do not hesitate to contact or write to me if you need any further information, clarifications, assistance. whatever you want, you can use from that. Please let me know if you have any questions. Again, another statement. I hope the above is useful to you. Another closing statement for offering assistance. Then look at this one. Should you need any further information? I think we discussed this the previous day, right? Somebody had a question, whether this is grammatically right. This is grammatically right. And the difference is this is a very, very formal way of offering assistance, right? Should you need any further information, please do not hesitate to contact me. Right? It means the same as everything else that you see in the list here, but this is just a very formal way of putting it across, right? Say you are writing to somebody who you are not familiar with at all, some stranger from some organization who's going to work with a project, on a project with you. So since this is the first time that you're writing to the person, you want to keep it polite, but then you also don't want to sound like, you're overly familiar with the person. You still want to keep it formal, right? So then you use a offering expression like this. Semi-formal for the same thing would be, let me know if you need anything else. So this is usually for your colleagues, right? Somebody who is at the same level in your organization. You say, let me know if you need anything else. This is again a good closing remark, but semi-formal, right? Because you're writing to someone who you know, they are at your same level in the organization. Another semi-formal expression would be, drop me a line if I can do anything else for you. Okay, so these last two you can save for your colleagues or someone who is on the same levels, at the same levels in your organization. But for anybody who's unfamiliar or is really higher up in the hierarchy for you in the organization, then you use, should you need any further information. This is the most formal method of doing it. Okay, so that's all for today. I'm not going to take it any further. We are going to start with ending emails, which is the last part of your content of the email. And then we are going to move on to editing and proofreading, right? So we'll have quite some exercise to do for tomorrow's class between 4 to 6. So for today, I think this is good and enough. Any questions, anyone?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, can you provide us access to the recording and PPT in the calendar?
Recording, see, once I cannot give you the access now because the backend team has to upload the recording. So you will only get an access through a playlist link on YouTube. They do not give you access to the recording as such. They'll upload it to the YouTube and you will get an access to that, not the actual recording. And that will happen once the events are done, right? So tomorrow, when we're done with the whole sessions, maybe by Monday or something, the team will update or they'll upload the recordings. That is the playlist link. So you can access it there. And as far as the materials are concerned, I do not know what their policy is on sharing it. If it is okay, I think they will share that as well. But I'll ask with the team if they upload contents for a workshop. If it is okay, then I'm also fine. Usually we do not, because these things usually we don't send to the public domain, because workshops, no. Other things we definitely do. But if they're okay, then I am okay to send the slides. I don't have a problem.
Ma'am, actually, it is uploaded on the calendar itself, so that's why.
It's already there, then that's not a problem. No, you can access it there. Yeah.
No, it's not accessible. It's on
not
yesterday's workshop is there in the calendar, but it is not accessible.
Okay, so I think probably they are waiting to make it open after the workshop is done. I do not know usually what is their policy on this. But this will definitely, the sessions will definitely be uploaded. Will you get a certificate? No. This is not a registered workshop, right, for certificate. Unless it is involves some kind of registrations, I don't think people give out certificates. This is this is more like sessions that we do because we think it would be useful for people. That's all, not a certificated one. Okay. All right then. We'll meet tomorrow again for the final session on emails, and then another couple of weeks, I think we'll have another the second part to this workshop on report writing. Okay. So see you again tomorrow then. Thank you for joining in. And I'm sorry, I think for people who are going to access this online, one part of it would be unrecorded because I did not record it. And thanks to Premanand for reminding me that. But the content would be accessible if the slides are uploaded. So please go through. If you have questions, please write. Yes. Okay. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. I'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you, ma'am.
ma'am.
Sure.
Thank you,
See
ma'am.
you.